So we are here today in day 4. Yes, so day 4 of network and network security training. Yes, okay. So far, to summarize what we have seen so far, initially we saw about IP address. Yes, what is an IP address and how do you assign that to a computer, and the classes of IP, and about the subnet mask, network ID, default gateway, broadcast ID, and all that. Yes, so in computer level we saw all that, and then moving on to subnetting using a switch, we started implementing subnetting using a switch. We haven't seen the switch configuration yet, so but we have seen subnetting. Yes, we have seen subnetting. And then yesterday we saw about routers. So how to connect a router to your network, and how to set, default gateway to router interface, and how to ping from one computer to router. So we have seen till this. Yes, we have seen till this. And today what we are going to see is, now say you have a router, you have a switch, and you have a computer, the assignment which you did yesterday. Yes, now today we are going to add another router, another switch, and another computer. Okay, let me open my chat box. Chat box. Okay. Okay, so now you have one router here and you have another router here. Now, when you try pinging from this computer to this computer, do you think you will get a reply? You have one router here and you have another router here. When you try pinging from this computer to another computer, will you think you will get a reply? No, because the router is not connected. Because the router is not connected, and so you will not get reply. So today what we are going to see is how to connect these two routers. Yes, how to connect these two routers and how to make these two routers communicate with each other. So how we will see how to make this two router communicate with each other, so that from this computer, when you try pinging this computer, you will get a reply. So this process is called routing. So we're going to see about routing today. So routing is nothing but you have two routers, and the process of making two routers communicate with each other is called routing. Okay. We'll also have another router, another switch, and another computer, and we'll try pinging from each and every computer to another computer. Yes, so we'll have three routers and we'll make three routers communicate with each other. So today we'll see about routing. Yes, okay. So talking about routing, we have two types of routing. Talking about routing, we have two types of routing. One type is static and another type is dynamic. Okay, so static routing and dynamic routing. So there are two types of routing. Now also tell me, router has a memory and router saves something into that memory. What do you think it saves? Router has a memory and router stores something in its memory. What do you think will it store? Perfect, it stores IP address. Great. So router has a memory called IP table. Router has a memory called IP table, and it stores the IP address. Okay, where it stores the IP address. So what type of IP address is it going to store? So a router will store two things in its IP address. Okay, one thing is known network ID and another one is unknown network ID. Okay, so in its IP table, it is going to store either known network ID or unknown network ID. Yes, so we'll see what is that. So let's start with static routing today, but I'll tell you the difference between static and dynamic routing. Yes, so in static routing, it is a process of filling unknown network in IP table. So static routing is a process of filling unknown network in an IP table, and dynamic routing is a process of filling known network in IP table. Now let's take static. So static is something like your mobile phone. Static is something like your mobile phone. In your mobile phone, you have your contacts. Yes, you have your contacts saved. And when you wanted to ring someone, when you wanted to call someone, you choose the name from your contacts and you start calling. Yes, you choose the name from your contacts and you start calling. When the person is not with you or when the person is somewhere else, you use your contacts to contact them. Similarly, static routing will also save all the unknown networks. Whatever network is not related, or what is not related or which is not directly in touch, it is going to store all those unknown networks in its IP table. Yes, and it will try communicating to another routers using this unknown network. I'll tell you how to find unknown network. Yes, and dynamic routing is where you fill all the known networks. Dynamic routing is where you fill all your known network or network ID. And static routing, it is actually used in smaller network, and dynamic routing is used in larger network. It is used in larger network. Okay, so there are two types of routing. So routing is nothing but making two routers communicate with each other. Yes, and how do we implement this? We are going to fill the IP table with either known network ID or unknown network ID. And in routing, you have two types of routing. One is static routing and another one is dynamic routing. Static routing is where you fill all the unknown network into the IP table, and dynamic routing is where you fill all the known network into the IP table. Yes, and static routing is used in smaller network and dynamic routing is used in larger network. Now we'll see what is known network ID and what is unknown network ID. How do you use, or how do you identify known network and unknown network IDs? So for that, what we will do is we will take this particular diagram, one router here, another router here, and another router here. So we'll take three routers and three switch and three computers. Let's start assigning IP. Now say for this computer, the IP is 192.168.1.10. So if this is 1.10, this is going to be 192.168.1.1. This is 1.1, then it is going to be 192.168.2.1. 2.1, and this will be 192.168.2.2. This is going to be 3.1. This is going to be 4.1. This is going to be 192.168.4.2, and this is going to be 5.1. Yes, and this IP will be 192.168.3.10, and this will be 192.168.5.10. Yes, so these are the IPs assigned to each and every interface. Now let's determine, or let's find out the known and network IDs of each and every router. Now say for example, this is router A, this is router B, and this is router C. So let's start identifying known network and unknown network for each and every router. So first we'll take router A. Okay, we'll take router A, and let's consider router A has an IP table. So this router A, it is going to store the unknown network and known network. So first let's find out the known network. Known network. Now, what do you call the known network in a router? Now see here, for this router, this particular router, router A, how many interface does it have? Router A has how many interface? Two. Very good. So router A has two interface. One is 1.1 and another one is 2.1. Now what we have to fill is the network ID. So if this 1.1 is the default gateway, then the network ID is going to be 192.168.1.0. And another 2.1 will be 192.168.2.0, since we are filling the network ID. And since these two interfaces are directly connected to router A, we are going to take these two interface IP as the known networks. Okay, since they both are directly connected, we are taking these two interfaces as our known network, and we are writing the network IDs for each and every gateway. Yes, now let's write unknown network. Unknown network. Now for this router, for this particular router, it is actually connected to other routers, which means the unknown networks will be, this will be an unknown network. Okay, 2.0 we already have here as known network, so we leave that. Apart from that, we have 3.1, we have 4.1, and we have 5.1. So all these are unknown network because they are not directly connected to router A. So unknown networks for router A will be 192.168.3.0, 192.168.4.0, and 192.168.5.0. So we have three unknown networks which are not directly connected to router A. Yes, so for router A, the directly connected interfaces are 1.1 and 2.1. So we take 1.0 and 2.0 as our known network, and unknown networks are 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0. Now let's go for router B. So for router B, we'll again write IP table. And for router B, we'll first write the known network. Now tell me, for router B, how many interfaces are there? Three. Very good. So router B has three interfaces. One interface is 2.2, another one interface is 3.1, and another one interface is 4.1, which means for router B, there are three known networks: 2.0, 3.0, and 4.0. So it is 192.168.2.0, 192.168.3.0, and 192.168.4.0. So this is the known network for router B. Unknown network. So for router B, the unknown network is, so obviously this is unknown network, and this is router A has an unknown network and router C has an unknown network. So obviously we have 1.1 and 5.1. So it is 1.0, 192.168.1.0, and 192.168.5.0. Okay, so 1.0 and 5.0 are going to be unknown networks for router B. Yes, and then we'll go with router C. For router C, again we'll fill in the IP table, and we will write the known network first. So now for router C, how many interfaces are there? Very good. We have two interfaces, and one interface is 5.1 and another one is 4.1. So we'll take known network as 192.168.4.0 and 192.168.5.0 as our known network. Okay, and unknown network. Can you all tell me what are all the unknown network for router C? Okay, there are three unknown networks. What are they? Very good. So it is 192.168.1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. Excellent. So this is how IP table is being filled with known network and unknown network. Yes, and in IP table, if you're going to fill known network, then it is going to be dynamic routing. If you're going to fill unknown network, then it is going to be static routing. This difference you should know. Yes, so if you're going to fill dynamic routing, if you're going to fill known network, then it is going to be dynamic routing. If you're going to fill unknown network, then it is going to be static routing. Okay, so this is how IP table is being filled. Now we'll see how to configure static routing. Yes, we'll see how to configure static routing with unknown networks in Packet Tracer. In Packet Tracer, for static routing, you have to fill only unknown network. For static routing, you have to fill only unknown network. And for dynamic routing, you have to fill only known network. You cannot fill both the networks in one single routing. No. For static routing, you have to go with unknown network. And for dynamic routing, you have to go with known network. Yes. Is it clear? Great. Okay, so now we'll see how this is done. But for today, this is how you are going to do your assignment. You're going to have 3 routers, and you're going to connect all the 3 routers with 3 switches, and you will have computers for each and every switch connected. Yeah, and tell me, when you try connecting a router to another router, which interface will you use? When you try connecting a router to another router, which interface will you use? Very good. So you go with serial interface. Yes. When you try connecting a router with another router, we go with serial interface. When you try connecting a router with a switch, which interface do you use? When you try connecting a router with switch, great. You either go with fast Ethernet or gigabit Ethernet interface. Excellent. So first in Packet Tracer, I will show you how you can use 3 routers and how you can make connect them to serial interface. So in your Packet Tracer, what you're going to do is you're going to take 3 routers, 1, 2 and 3. Yes, you're going to take 3 routers, and when you try connecting a router with another router, you will go for the cable called serial DCE. Yes, you will go for the cable called serial DCE. So you'll flick this cable, serial DCE, and you'll go click it here. Now see, it is actually showing me fast Ethernet only. It is not showing me serial interface. Yes, but it has to show me serial interface. Now, in case if it is not showing you serial interface, what you have to do is you have to click on this router. Yes, click on this router, and you will be in this dialog box. So now in this dialog box, you have to zoom in. Yes, you zoom in and you scroll this side, and you find a power button here for a router. You find a power button. So what you have to do is you have to turn it off. Yes, now the router is turned off. Once the router is turned off, yes, left hand side, you see this option called WIC-2T. Yes, this will add a serial interface to your router. So I'll just click it and I'll drag it and place it here. Okay, once this is done, I'll again go this side and I will turn it on. Yes, and close it. I'll do the step again. You have to open the router, and in the router, you have to zoom in, and then you have to scroll right hand side and turn off your router, and then come back. Inside, you have this option called WIC-2T. You have to click this, drag it and put it here, and then scroll and turn it on and close it. Yes, now we have 2 routers. Now you have to choose this cable called serial DCE cable. Now you go click here. See, you will find serial interface. Yes, so what you have to do is you have to choose, you have to remember the number, whatever interface you are choosing, please remember the number. For this, we'll choose serial 0/1/0. So we'll choose this and we'll connect it here. So again, it is 0/1/0. Now we have connected two routers using serial interface. Yes, we have connected two routers using serial interface. Now, the next thing which you have to notice, just go keep your mouse pointer here. Okay, when you go keep your mouse pointer here in the serial cable, just see here, I'll zoom it if you want. See here, you find this clock icon. There is a clock icon in the first router, not in the second router. You find this clock icon in the first router, which means you have to determine the master and the slave end. So when you find this clock icon, it means that this is going to be the master end. So what you have to do is you have to go inside your router, go to configuration. You have to go to configuration, and the interface is serial 0/1/0. Yes, you have to choose this, and in the clock rate, you have to set the value to 64,000. Yes, you have to set the value to 64,000. Yes. Now, once this is done, see, yesterday when I taught you about assigning an IP for a router, I told you how it can be done in a command line interface. I told you how it can be done in a command line interface. That is in command prompt. Many of you got errors, well and good, okay, but still you came up with your assignment completed. Great. So today I will tell you how easy it is to assign an IP instead of command line, but in a graphical user interface. Yes, I'll tell you what clock rate is. Just give me 1 minute. So now here we are inside serial 0/1/0 because this is our interface. See here, I have this option called IP address. So I can directly assign IP here itself. Okay. So now if I wanted to assign IP, I'll assign 192.168.2.1. See here, when I type the command, automatically all the commands that you type in your command prompt will also appear. And then I keep my mouse pointer. See, I get IP address 192.168.2.1 and this command. And then last point was no shutdown. So to make your port live, you have to turn this on. Now you have assigned an IP for an interface. It is as simple as that. Okay, you don't have to go to command line, type interface. You have to choose interface, you have to log in, and you have to go to your configure terminal, choose interface, IP address. No, you don't have to do all those steps. All that you have to do is, instead of command line interface, you go to this configuration, you choose your interface, and inside your interface you can actually write the IP address and the subnet mask, turn on your port. And if you find this clock icon, then you have to set the clock rate as 64,000. Okay, you have to set the clock rate as 64,000. Now close it. Now you come here and you keep your mouse pointer here. It is not showing you any clock rate. Yes, so now it means that you don't have to set any clock rate. So you choose serial 0/1/0. Let the clock rate be in not set itself. Let it be in not set. All you have to do is you have to just give IP address 192.168.2.2 and your subnet mask. How am I assigning IP address? Based on this diagram. See, it is 2.1 here and it is 2.2 here. So that is why I'm giving 2.2. And I have to turn the port on and close it. So this is how you assign IP. Now see here, it has changed to green color, which means the setup is correct. Okay. And the clock rate, you are asking about the clock rate. Yes, so you have to assign clock rate for master as 64,000 and slave as not set. This is the clock rate that you set, so that it is like something like a speed that you set for the packet to get transferred from source router to destination router. Okay, so this clock rate will determine the traffic, it will determine the speed, and it will also determine how the packet is transferred from source to destination in an efficient way. That is why you set this clock rate as 64,000. In case when you take a router and it is not showing you the clock icon, or maybe sometimes it might work without configuring the clock rate also, that is also fine. But in case if you are not able to connect to routers, then you have to set the clock rate. Okay, so you set a clock rate and then you configure this master and slave and using clock rate, and then you assign IP, and the routers are connected. The same process you have to do for these two routers also. Okay, so this is how you connect two routers. This is how you connect two routers easily. Yes, so I hope this is clear. I hope this packet tracer thing is clear, right? Great. So now what we will do is we will see about static routing. Okay, so the static routing is what you're going to configure. So for static routing, remember we are going to fill in the unknown network. For static routing, we'll be filling the unknown network for each and every router, for router A, router B, and router C. Now, okay, so now for static routing, one concept which you should understand, is something called hop. We're going to see about static routing now. And there is something called hop. What is hop? What do you think is hop? In general terms, what is hop? Jump, exactly. So it is like jumping. So hop is now for a real time example, I'll tell you. Now, say for example, you are actually in Coimbatore. Okay, you are in Coimbatore, and from Coimbatore, if you wanted to go to Cochin, you go through Palakkad. And then from Coimbatore, in case if you wanted to go to Salem, then I mean, if you wanted to go to Chennai, 1 minute, you go through Salem. Okay, so the source is here. The source is here. Yes. Now, in case if I wanted to go to Chennai, this is my destination. The next stop from Coimbatore, if I start, the next stop will be Salem. To reach my destination, the next stop is Salem. In case from Coimbatore, if I wanted to go to Cochin, yes, my next immediate stop is Palakkad. So this is the hop. So the next hop is nothing but the immediate next stop that is there when you try traveling from your source to destination. Okay, so this is called next hop. Next hop. So next hop is nothing but when you wanted to travel from Coimbatore to Chennai, the immediate stop that you come across is your next stop or next hop. When you wanted to travel from Coimbatore to Cochin, the next stop is Palakkad. Okay, so this is the next hop IP address. I mean, this is the next hop concept, but I'll tell you what is next hop IP address in routing. Okay, I'll tell you what is next hop IP address in routing. Now, the diagram which you are going to take is three routers. Yes, you're going to take, I'll choose some other color. Okay, so the diagram which you're going to take is the same diagram. I'll just draw it here so that I can explain next hop. So we have three routers. Yes. Okay, Suhas, Mukund, you have turned on your camera, and Suman Sharma, you have also turned on your camera. Please turn it off. Thank you. So you have three routers. Yes, you have three routers. 1.1, 2.1, this is 2.2, this is 3.1, this is 4.1, this is 4.2, and this is 5.1. Yeah, the same thing I've written here. Okay, for router A, router B, and router C. Now for router A, we know we have three unknown networks. For static routing, we have three unknown network, 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0. Yes. So the three unknown networks will be, yes, the three unknown networks will be 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0. We know these are the three unknown networks for router A. Now the next hop IP for router A, see here, router A is here, router A is here, and the immediate next stop for router A is nothing but 2.2. Yes, the immediate next stop for router A is 2.2. So if these are the network IDs, then the immediate next hop IP will be 2.2, 2.2 and 2.2. I'll tell you where you have to enter all these values, but just understand that for router A, the immediate next hop is 2.2. Okay. Now let's take for router B. For router B, the unknown networks are 1.0 and 5.0. Yes. So for router A, the unknown networks are 1.0 and 5.0. Now for router B, there are two immediate next hops. The router can either travel this way or this router can travel this way also. So this router has two immediate next hop. One is 2.1 and another one is 4.2. Yes. So if it is 1.0, this 1.0 is left hand side. So we take the next hop IP for 1.0 as 2.1 and 5.0 is in right hand side. So we'll take the next hop IP as 4.2. Okay. And for router C, we have again three unknown networks 1.0, 2.0 and 3.0. And for router C, it can travel only in one direction. So the next hop IP address will be 4.1, 4.1 and 4.1. Hope this concept is clear. Oh my God, where is my chat box? Yes, yes. I'll explain it once again. Yes, I'll explain it once again. I'll open another paint window. Yes, so you have three routers, router A, you have router B, and you have router C. A, B, and C. And let's say you have 1.1, 2.1, 2.2, 3.1, 4.1, 4.2, and 5.1. Okay, now for router A, the unknown networks, you have 3.0, 4.0 and 5.0. For router B, the unknown networks are 1.0 and 5.0. And for router C, the unknown networks are 1.0, 2.0 and 3.0. This we know. Yes, for each and every router, the unknown networks. Now we have to also understand the next hop IP address. So for each and every router, there is a next hop IP address. Now for router A can travel only in this direction because we don't have any router in the left hand side. So the only direction it can travel is this way. And for this router A, the next hop IP address will be 2.2. Yes, so it is going to be 2.2, 2.2 and 2.2. For router B, it can either travel this way or it can travel this way also. So router B has two next hop IP address. One is 2.1 and another one is 4.2. Now if it is 1.0, 1.0 is in the left hand side. Yes, so we will take the next hop IP address as 2.1. And if it is 5.0, 5.0 is in the right hand side. So we will take the next hop IP address as 4.2. Now for router C again travels only in one direction. Yes. So for router C, the next hop IP address will be 4.1, 4.1 and 4.1. So this is how you identify the next hop IP address. Got it? Super. So now I'll tell you how to implement this in your packet tracer. For today, your packet tracer assignment is going to be this. For today, your packet tracer assignment is going to be this. I'll tell you how you can implement this in packet tracer. It is very simple and very easy. Yes. So now we have implemented serial interface for these two routers, and we have connected these two routers, and we have also assigned IP address for these two routers. Yes, we have assigned IP address for these two routers. Now to configure this, see what you have to do. You have to double click this router. Okay. And this particular dialog box will be open. Now you have physical, you have config and you have CLI. So go to config and in config, see you have an option called static. have an option called static. And in static, it is asking you for three details. One is the network, which is nothing but the unknown network ID. And the second thing is the subnet mask. And third thing is the next hop IP address. So in our diagram, this diagram, see for router A, we have three unknown networks, 3.0, 4.0 and 5.0. And we have next hop IP address. So you have to fill in three times. Yes. So first what we will do is we will assign 192.168.3.0, and then subnet mask will be 255.255.255.0, and the next hop IP address will be 192.168.2.2, and click on add. So now one network with its next hop IP address is added. Okay, so we have added 3.0 and we have added the next hop IP. Again, what you have to do is you have to add 4.0, and the next hop IP address is 2.2 itself. Add. Next is added. And then again, you're going to add 5.0 and click on add. So you have added three unknown networks with the next hop IP address in router A. Yes, close it. Now come back to your packet tracer, go open router B. For router B, again go to config and go to static. So in static, so for router B, you have two unknown networks. Yes, for router B, you have two unknown networks. So one is 192.168. What are the unknown networks? 1.0, and you have 255.255.255.0, and the next hop IP address will be for 1.0, it is 2.1. So you will type it as 192.168.2.1, and okay, invalid IP because I didn't keep a dot. 2.1 and add. And the next IP will be 5.0, and the next hop IP address is actually 4.2. So you have to change the next hop also to 4.2 and add it. So now you have added two unknown networks for your router B. You have to repeat the same process for router C as well. Yes, so you'll repeat the same process for router C. After doing all this, you will take three switches and connect all these three switches, and you will take three computers and you will connect all these computers. And again, you will assign IP for this interface also, for your fast Ethernet interface, for this fast Ethernet interface, and for this fast Ethernet interface. As like how you did yesterday, you're going to assign IP. And then you will assign IP for computers. Yes, you will assign IP for computers, and then finally you have to verify. So why are we going for routing? Because we want this computer to communicate with this computer to communicate with this computer. So we wanted to establish communication between all the routers. That is why we have done all this process. Okay, so to summarize, I'll tell you what you have to do in your to-do. Yes, to summarize, your to-do for today is static routing. Static routing. So in static routing, what you will do is you have to take three routers, one router, router B and router C. Okay, you're going to take three routers. So now for these three routers, you have to check whether you have the serial interface. If not, you have to add serial interface. You have to turn off the router, and then you have to add serial interface, and then you have to turn it on. This is the first thing that you will do. Serial interface. Then you will connect the routers. And then you will connect the routers, and after you connect the routers, yes, so you will find the clock icon here. You will find the clock icon here. So once you find the clock icon here, what you have to do is you have to set clock rate. Set clock rate. So the clock rate will be 64,000. If you find the clock icon, you have to set the clock rate. If you don't find the clock icon, don't set the clock rate. It has to be in no set mode only. By default, it will be in no set mode. Okay, and then you have to assign IPs. Assign IPs. So in this step itself, you can start adding your switch and your computer, and you can add your switch and your computer and your switch computer. Now you have to start assigning IP. So for this interface, so you have to choose fast Ethernet and you have to assign 1.1. You have to choose serial interface and you have to assign 2.1. For this, you have to assign 2.2. For this, 3.1. For this, 4.1. For this, 4.2. And for this, 5.1. And this IP will be 192.168.1.10. This will be 192.168.3.10, and this will be 192.168.5.10. So you'll assign IPs for all the interfaces of a router and for your computers. Then the fourth step which you have to perform is the static routing. So for static routing, my God. For static routing, what you will do is you will open each and every router. So you have to open router A, go to config and choose static and start adding your known unknown networks along with your next hop IP. And then go to router B, again do the same process. Then go to router C and again do the same process. So once this is all done, your final fifth step will be to verify. So how are you going to verify? You have to open this computer 1.10. Yes, go to command prompt and you have to ping. You have to try pinging 192.168.3.10. You have to get a reply. Try pinging 192.168.5.10. You have to get a reply. Same way, go to this computer 3.10 and try pinging 1.10 and 5.10. You have to get a reply. And from this computer, try pinging 1.10 and 3.10. You have to get a reply. So now you have connected all the routers and you have established communication between all the three routers. So this is the assignment which you're going to do today. Yes. Setting up clock for only first link. Yeah. So this clock rate you have to set only when you find that clock icon. So you have to just place your mouse pointer near that interface, and if it shows you the clock icon, it means that there is that particular router is going to be master. So you have to set the clock rate to 64,000. And IP you have to assign only one time. Yes, you have to assign only for one time. It is not necessary that you have to assign IP twice. So once you have to assign. For this, you have to understand that this is fast Ethernet, this is serial interface. So assign IP accordingly. And the mistake which you will make is with the type of the interface that you are choosing. So make sure you see which interface is actually connected and you assign IP to that particular interface. If you are assigning IP now, in case this is serial 0/1/0, this is actually the serial interface here. But when you assign IP, you assign to 0/1/1. If you assign IP to this, then again, it is not going to work. So you have to make sure to which interface you are assigning IP so that, you know, you get the output. All right. Okay, great. So we'll stop with static routing today. Dynamic routing we'll see tomorrow. Shankaza will be joining us immediately after another 2 minutes, because I'm going to post you the attendance link. So I'll give you 2 minutes break. You can go and you can post your attendance and come back. Yes, post your attendance and come back so that Shankasa will take over the class. Uh, Everyone in the meeting. Okay, so I have posted the attendance link. You can go ahead and you can fill in your attendance. It is in your Zoom chat. Okay. See, listen here. I will show once again when people are, who they're filling in their attendance. So I'll show you once again this routing thing alone. See, you have three routers. You have three routers and assigning IP for each and every router. For this router, you have I have taken the serial interface. Yes, WIC2T. So I have serial interface and the router. This is actually serial 0S. When you keep your mouse pointer here, it will show you serial 0/1/0. So this is the interface for this router. So you have to choose this interface and you have to give the IP. And since you find this clock icon here, we are setting the clock rate to 64,000 and you're turning on your port. Okay. And for the second router, again, the same way you have to open, you have to go to config and choose your interface and you have to assign the IP. And since you don't have a clock icon here, you are not going to set the clock rate. Okay. And I'll also configure to C. So now C router, see here for C router, we don't have serial interface. So what we will do is we will turn off the router. We'll turn off the router and we'll choose WICT and drag it here and then you turn it on and close it. And then you have to choose the cable, serial DCE cable, choose serial 0/1/1 and place it here 0/1/0. You have to remember this interface. Now we have connected it. Now to assign IP, now for this in our diagram, this IP is 4.1. Yes, so we are going to assign serial interface 0/1/1 to 4.1 and we are going to set the clock rate also. So I'll go to config, I'll choose serial 0/1/1 and we'll give the IP as 192.168.4.1 and we'll give the subnet mask, and since it shows the clock, we are going to set the clock rate to 64,000 and turn it on. Yes, and for this router C, again this is in serial 0/1/0 and the IP for this interface is 4.2. So we will choose this interface 0/1/0 and we will give the IP as 192.168.4.2, subnet mask not set and your port on. Okay, and this is actually usual. So just how you did your assignment yesterday, you have to connect this router and switch and you have to assign IP for your fast ethernet. For this router, you have to again connect and assign IP for your fast ethernet, and for this router you have to assign IP for your fast ethernet. And one another thing which you have to remember is when you assign IP for this computer in your desktop, when you go assign IP for this computer, you have to give the IP address 192.168.1.10 and you have to give the subnet mask and you have to give the default gateway 192.168.1.1. So because the default gateway is this interface, so we'll give default interface here also. And similarly, for computer 2, when you assign an IP, it is 192.168.3.10 and the subnet mask and the default gateway will be 192.168.3.1. And for computer C, you have to repeat the same process. If you don't give the default gateway, it will not ping. So you have to give the default gateway also. Yes, you have to give the default gateway as well. Yes, so I hope this is clear. Yes, so you can do it with command line or you can do with GUI also. I mean, for assigning IP, you can go however you want. You can do it however you want. Yes, great. Now, I hope you all have filled in your attendance. Attendance is done. I will paste the attendance link again. Yes, so I will paste the attendance link again and I will hand over the session to Shankaja. You can fill in your attendance and you can continue with the session. Okay, so this is for everyone in the meeting. Okay, so you keep messaging me and I'm not able to send it to everyone. Okay, so I'll stop share.
Okay, hi, good morning, everyone. Okay, great. Let me share my screen. Screen is shared. And okay, I think it's almost time. So let me start with quite like a few facts what you're going to learn here about what you have already learned for the past 3 days. So let's come up with this. And probably during my next sessions, I'll be discussing on DHCP and DNS. Right? DHCP and DNS, we'll be seeing what DHCP is, what DNS is, how this probably impacts or how attackers use this. We'll first see a logical overflow of what this is, and then we'll see from the security point of view what type of attacks do we have, and probably how we can mitigate all those attacks, and how DHCP DNS is also going to help you in configuring firewall, because firewall is it's a complex concept which involves a lot of different things what you're going to learn here. So we'll also see this, and to make it very short and to make it very simple, I'll tell DHCP is dynamic host configuration protocol. Dynamic host configuration protocol. Fine. So what is DHCP and what is dynamic host configuration protocol? We have two types of, when you look at types of IP addressing, we can assign IP address in two different ways. One is a static IP assigning for your computer, and second is dynamic IP assigning. So what do you mean by static and what do you mean by dynamic? Say for my computer, if I take, I'll type ncpa.cpl, which is network control panel, enter, and let me go to my Wi-Fi here, and I'll go to properties. If I go to properties here, I'll go to TCP/IP v4 and again properties. So for your computer, this is where you're going to assign IP address. Fine. So you have two types, or you have two configurations here where you can assign this IP address. Let me make it clear here. So we have one option which is at the top. So this option, what is here? This is a dynamic way of assigning IP address. Fine. And this option, when you go for this option here, this is static. So we have two types of assigning IP address. So when I'll go for static, in case if I have smaller number of computers, if my computers is very small and I feel like I have 10 computers in my LAN, and I think, okay, it is very easy for me to assign IP address here. Probably when you go for static, you have to mention the IP address, what you're going to give here. So when you go for static, you will have to mention like this 192.168 1 dot. If this is 10 or 5, you have to give like this subnet mask and default gateway. You have to mention all these details, right? When you go for static. So this is possible. This is possible in case if you have smaller number of computers. Imagine you have like 100 computers and you are the system admin or the network admin here. 100 computers going to each and every computer here and assigning IP address here will be practically not possible. So at that time, what I'll do, I'll go for this option which is dynamic, and I'll say, hey computer, I'm not going to assign IP address for you. you take the IP address from your router or modem. You are free to do whatever you want. Fine. So this is dynamic. So to start with, understand static IP addressing is used for smaller networks wherein you have to assign a particular IP to your computer. So in case if your network has smaller number of computers, yes, you can go for static IP assigning. And you feel your network is huge and you wanted to bring down the burden of the system admin or the network admin, and you have to make IP assigning easy, then you'll go for dynamic IP assigning. So what does your computer do? Your computer will automatically search for IP address and it will assign the IP address, right? So static IP addressing, yes, as I told, this is perfectly simple. You can assign IP address, but if I go for this option, I go for this option called obtain IP address automatically. Now my computer here, okay, let me delete this. I'll go for this. So my computer here, which is Windows 10, which is connected to this Wi-Fi modem. My Wi-Fi modem is prompt. My Wi-Fi modem is prompt. The name is prompt. And my computer is connected here. And what is the IP address which I have assigned? I have assigned dynamic. Means I've asked my computer to assign an IP address by itself from the modem. From the modem here. So I'm not going to assign IP address to my computer. It is my computer's job to search for this modem, request an IP address from this modem and get an IP address assigned. Fine. So we'll see how this happens. I'll give it like this so that you'll understand it much better. I have a computer and this is a modem here. Fine. So we'll see what's happening behind this. So when my IP address is set to dynamic, I've gone for this option dynamic. I've clicked OK and I've closed this. I've closed this. Now, when I restart my computer, you should have probably seen this. Whenever you restart your computer, when you look at this network option here, down, the network option here, it says it is identifying. Have you seen this? You will have a icon which is loading. It will say identifying networks. First, it will try to identify. So we call this the DORA process. DORA. It's not the cartoon Dora which we see. It's the DORA process is for IP assigning. I'll tell you what this DORA process is. Fine. So when your computer is on, it's powered on. So now what your computer will do, your computer is going to search. It is going to search. It is going to discover where your modem is. How it is going to search? I think we saw about network ID and broadcast ID, and you people were asking me, yes, network ID is used for scanning. Can you give us a practical example where broadcast ID is used? Here, for discovering, your computer uses broadcast ID. Fine. If your IP address is 192.168.1.2, what will be your broadcast ID? Broadcast ID will be like this, 168.1.255. So what does your computer do? Your computer needs to search the entire LAN. Your LAN has 100 computers, and your computer will send discover packets to all the devices. It will ask, where is the modem? Where is the modem? Where is the modem? Fine. On seeing this modem understands this computer is searching for me, and this modem here replies back, hey, what do you want? Why are you searching for me? And it is going to offer. It is offering, what do you want? Why are you shouting? Why are you broadcasting messages? What do you want? And this computer in return says, hey modem, I'm requesting for an IP address because my IP assigning is marked with dynamic. So I have to assign an IP address by myself. So I'm requesting for an IP address. And in case if a computer doesn't have an IP address, what is the other address which we use? It's the MAC address. Fine. So when it is requesting for an IP address, it will say, okay, I have this particular MAC address. I am MAC address A, and I need an IP address. Fine. So what does your modem do? In case if DHCP is enabled, your modem will have a table which is called DHCP table. I will explain all these in detail, and we will be configuring this table range, everything in detail. This is DHCP table which your modem has, and or router, modem, anything. and it will have a list of IP address 192.168, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and it can go till 1.100. Fine. So on hearing this request, your modem will choose any one IP address. It'll say, okay, I have 1.4 because I have assigned this to some computer. This is to some other computer. Now you have requested IP address to me. So let me assign you 1.4. So what it does, it will acknowledge back. It will acknowledge back to this computer with this IP address 192.168.1.4, and in its table it will mark it as this particular IP address is assigned to a MAC address called A, and this can be for X, this can be for Y. So it will bind a MAC address with IP address Y just for identification, right? After this process is complete, then you will have your IP address assigned. That is why it is called as DORA process. D-O-R-A. Discover, offer, request, and acknowledge. Right? And later, when your computer is going to power off, when your computer shuts down, fine, what it will do, it will return back the IP address. It will return back the IP address back to the modem, and it will again use the IP address only when it turns on. That is why it is called as dynamic. Dynamic means only when there is a need, it will use. When there is no need, it will return back the IP address just like this. And this is a dynamic way of assigning IP address and DORA process. And I hope you should have all heard about DOS attack. Yes, denial of service attack. And we have an internal DOS attack, which I'll tell you. We can use commands to perform this attack. We can use tools, which is in Kali Linux, for performing this attack. We have an internal DOS attack which can happen, and this internal DOS attack, for understanding, when you're going for a tool, you will be choosing an option called Discover. I'll tell you the tool. You can try with that. What will happen with as a result of this particular attack? In case if there are 100 computers in your LAN, and you wanted to kick all the 100 computers out of internet, and you should be the only person to use the internet, yes, you can perform an internal DOS attack so that internet will be available only for your computer, and other computers, they will not have internet. Right? For understanding this DOS attack, probably DORA process is the base, and you have to understand this. Right? And we'll also see how to assign this, how to configure your modem, what to do, and we'll see this in Packet Tracer. And then I'll also show you with real-time modem what is how to configure DHCP table, what is SSID, what is BSSID. We have a lot of things to learn when it comes to wireless. Fine. So for wireless traffic and probably for dynamic assigning, DORA process is the base, and this is an introduction to DHCP. We'll on my sessions, yes, I'll be targeting more on DHCP, DNS, and probably when it comes to security aspects, yes, we have NAT, which we'll configure. We have ACL, which we'll configure. And once if you have completed DHCP and we have completed DNS and NAT, ACL, and for switch configuration, we have VLAN. Once if you have completed these 5 topics, then probably you will be good to go with firewalls. Because when you look at a firewall, Cisco ASA firewall, without knowing all these 5 key concepts, you can never configure a firewall, because all these concepts will get repeated in firewall when you're going to configure this. Right? So this is going to be a chain of events, like a dominoes effect. So even in case if you miss some classes, the reason for us to upload the videos is you will understand the continuity, or you will be able to only follow up all these classes only if you have the continuity going on. If you miss any class, please make sure you're going to watch the video and try to complete with the assignments, so that when we go for in detail topics like firewall and Splunk, you'll feel much comfortable. Right? And that's it for today. Probably we'll again meet tomorrow. I'll discuss more on DHCP and DNS. Fine. And thanks for all your participation. We'll meet tomorrow then. Thank you. Bye-bye.